What do you make of that side of it? Like, do you consider Bitcoin like a serious asset though?
I think it's a serious. It's a serious experiment.
Okay.
We're experimenting. We created together. Obviously, we all didn't create the white paper, or maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe Satoshi. Maybe. But we're having this experiment. Can we create a hard form of money by this consensus mechanism and these economic games that we're playing over the internet? So far, I think it's been successful, right? It's worth however many hundreds of billions of dollars of value. I always look at things in energy terms. Take a look at Bitcoin divided by the oil price. Bitcoin is worth more barrels of oil over time. Take a look at 20-year U.S. Treasury divided by the oil price, and the Treasury represents less barrels of oil over time. So I think we're being successful at doing what we should do. The currency should maintain purchasing power in energy, right? So I definitely think it's a serious thing. It solves a serious problem for people. Whether or not it's over the long term going to be successful, I don't know, but it's up to us, really.
Huh. I've never heard anyone say that before.
No, I've not.
Hmm.
In terms of pricing things against oil constantly.
Yeah. Is that something you do across other assets?
Yes, it's more of a mental construct. So I think about like our lives, right? We're sitting in this air-conditioned room in this nice house and, drinking these beers, and like every single thing, speaking on these microphones is basically somebody, as a company, a government, whoever, individuals came together, they found some potential energy in the earth, and they converted rocks and stuff into these useful products that give us enjoyment. And so then everything is a derivative of how much energy it costs to produce it. And so if you want to think about how you're going to save over time your wealth, you want to either have a constant standard of living if you really like, how your life is today, or you want to have an increasing standard of living. And all that's a function of energy and how much it costs to maintain that lifestyle. And so if I want to think about my portfolio, I want to make sure that the assets that I own, if I'm thinking about saving, are going to maintain purchasing power and energy. And right now that's hydrocarbons over time. And if they don't, then I need to think about, why do I own them? Maybe it's because I have to be in this particular jurisdiction and I have to hold this currency. Or it's like, I've just been thinking about it the wrong way and thinking about, okay, the price has gone up in dollar, euro, yuan, JPY terms. Not like, okay, have I maintained the same purchasing power of oil? Can I actually afford the same amount of energy in my lifestyle that I could yesterday with the money that I made from my job? And so that's what I think about my portfolio.
And what kind of time frames are you looking at? Because these things fluctuate.
I think it's a personal thing, right? So my goal is, okay, I like the way I'm living. I want to keep living this way until I die. So how do I make sure that I optimize for that, right? So other people say, well, I'm in a short-term trade. Like maybe I got to buy a house next year, or there's something that they have to do. And so that's their time frame, right? So everyone has their own personalized time frame. There is no one-fits-all investment strategy or like this, global vision of how you should manage your money, right? It's a personalized thing.
I think it's all just about having fun for you, right?
I love having fun. That's what life is about, right?
That's what you maintain it. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about SBF, FTX, what happened there. You called to talk about that?
Sure.
Did you see it coming?
No.
You didn't? Why? How did he get away with this?
Well, I think let's first back up and think, okay, so when the Alameda balance sheet got published,
Yeah.
I remember I was like chatting with one of my boys. He was like, did you see this CoinDesk article? I was like, oh no, I hadn't read it. So I looked through. I was like, okay, maybe their hedge fund is over leveraged. I had heard that Sam loves to trade shit coins and has blew up a few times before. So didn't put it past him that he blew up his hedge fund, like whatever. But like what I did not expect is that he like went to the next level and said, yeah, I'm going to take 8 to 15 billion US dollars of my company's exchange's funds. And this exchange was a profitable exchange, held in high regard. I mean, we know that the tech was fugazi in the back end, but whatever, it worked, right? To the extent that we could see what was going on. And I'm like, wow, there's no way that this guy, his hedge fund blows up. So what? Who cares? He lost his own money. Everybody blows up. Not a big deal, right? He wouldn't like compromise the functioning of his money printing machine, his exchange, FTX, by, commingling the funds or like taking billions of dollars and plugging holes. So I literally had this conversation with like one of my good friends who runs a crypto hedge fund. And we're like, yeah, no, it's fine. It's cool. All the stuff is good. In the back of my mind, I was like, well, you know what? I'm not going to take the chance. And, I pulled all my money off of the exchange just because like, what's the point? Just, wait a few days, it'll clear. If he's good, he's good. If he's not, he's not, right? Just how it works. But yeah, I did not expect this.
How good was your timing?
I think I got out within 12 hours of them closing things.
Holy shit. Wow. That is good timing. Fuck. Yeah, because we didn't see it coming. And I don't think many people saw it coming.
Well, I guess there was, forget what you saw coming the weekend before it happened. But if you see like, CZ sells his position, the first tell was when Caroline sent that tweet out, I defend this level. You never, ever tell anyone the level you defend publicly. If there is a level, she should have said fuck all and just shut the fuck up and defend the level. But now everyone knew this is the level. I don't know what it was, $22 on FTT or whatever it was.
I think it was 22.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, what's the market going to do? It's going to test that level. How big is your stack? And she didn't have the biggest stack. And it was game over from there.
What I could never figure out is they had the hedge fund. They had all the alpha from the exchange, knew everything that people were trading, and they still blew up. I'm not a trader, but is that not mind-blowing?
From the little snippets that I've read of people's Twitters of like, John Ray and the bankruptcy court, it sounded like the operation was complete Mickey Mouse, right? Everyone thought he was this, Jane Street badass trader, but no accounting system, no reconciliation of P&L, no concept of like risk management. Like this is just trading 101, right? If you don't like, I don't know if he ever managed his own book to a big degree, but like I remember my boss sat me down one day and he basically told me everything is your fault. If IT fucks up and you lose money, your fault. Like, and you get a culture of understanding like there is nothing that you don't have a handle on. That's your P&L. You sign off at the end of the day and you own it, right? And so I don't think he ever had that sort of ethos about how he traded, and he was sloppy.
How did he kind of get away with it though? Because when you see massive funds investing hundreds of millions in, my assumption at times is like they're going to take a board seat and they're going to be checking that there's like certain things in place, like risk management, proper accountancy, proper reporting.
Well, I'm not super into like how Silicon Valley, large VC funds do DD, but they obviously don't do that much of it. I think a lot of the time, think about 2020, 2021, you're in this VC fund, got a fuck ton of money, right? Because Fed and every other central bank is printing money, got all these subscriptions. You have to deploy money. You've been told, okay, I have a crypto bucket, deploy. And so then along comes Sam. He looks like all the other dudes that you invest in, went to the same schools, parents did whatever they did. And you're like, okay, cool. This guy looks like me, talks like me, I understand him. Here's $100 million, or whatever the checks they were writing. I'm never going to get fired for investing in Sam. Because at the end of the day, as an investment manager, the number one thing you want to do is make sure you don't lose your job, because you get paid a lot of money to do fuck all. And so... And so like maintaining that like awesomely nice lifestyle means that like if you make making a mistake isn't a bad thing. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody loses money. That's not a big deal. But you don't want to lose money in the thing that everyone else told you would lose money in, because that's how you lose your job. So investing in Sam Bankman-Fried was a way to get into crypto, and you would never lose your job for investing in FTX, because he did all the right things. He said all the right things. He looked the right way, had the right background. Like, you're not going to get fired for investing in him. Would you get fired as a American VC fund by investing in a scrappy exchange located in like Hong Kong or like some country that Americans can't pronounce? Absolutely, you lose your job for that if that guy was a scam artist, right? So that's why I think that the DD and the whole mind frame, people have already conned themselves before Sam even got in and started talking his bullshit.
And how do you think it'll play out?
In terms of?
Like, what's going to happen now in terms of like Sam and then in future exchanges? Because it looks like the sad side of it is we were having a good year. Like, times were good, and then everything blew up. Like Luna, they blew up. Yeah. We're now in a situation where there's a massive regulatory lens on everything that happens in this industry. So do you think this is one of the examples going to use to kind of like clamp down on us all? Or do you not even worry about that?
I think that this was a validation of decentralization. The companies that failed and the people that were at the helm of these companies were all centralized things, right?
Yeah.
Fear Arrows, Celsius, Genesis, all those people, FTX, right? It's all centralized things. What do? They took a bunch of money, they levered it, and they bought shitcoins. Or they took a bunch of money, they levered it, and then they lent it to other idiot traders, right? And that's how they lost all their money and blew up their businesses. Okay, yeah, the crypto market cap went down because of that, because a lot of that, these things were inflated higher, but Uniswap still worked. Ethereum still worked. Bitcoin still worked. The quality projects that actually built real things worked perfectly fine. And we literally lost, 60% of value in like 3 months? Think of that happen in like the S&P. Imagine the S&P one day opened and it was down, 50% because JP Morgan went bankrupt or something like that, right? Like some institution you would have thought would never have failed has now declared bankruptcy. Nobody gets their money. Markets are going crazy, right? Does the Western financial system still work? Absolutely fucking not, right? But our system worked. No bailouts. Everybody took their humble pie, took their medicine. Some people lost a lot of money. It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, the market kept ticking, and that's what we're here.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, look, I guess it was like a kick in the teeth for a lot of people, and it's really sad. Like a lot of people lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
that is sucks. But I guess you're right. I mean, Bitcoin still produces another block every 10 minutes. We keep going. We learn our lessons from it. But I do kind of still worry about like the future exchanges. That's like our onboarding, our offboarding. It's like there's a lot of pressure on them now, and I just think it like really didn't help. But maybe I don't know. Do you worry about regulation coming in on these exchanges? Do you worry about what will happen to the likes of Coinbase? They've been flirting with this idea of maybe not being here in the US.
I mean, I think Coinbase will be fine.
Yeah.
Everything's a cycle, right? There's oh no, Bitcoin in XYZ jurisdiction is getting challenged. Everyone moves over here, right? And then there's people are in this country for a while. They don't know, they don't like us, so we're gonna move back over here, right? It's just go around in this circle. And then hopefully over time, the amount of people who've heard about crypto increases. Because at the end of the day, we're an attention game. It doesn't matter what the price is, it needs to move. We need people to either just make a decision. We don't care if you don't like it or like it, but at least have the cognizant decision making. I don't like Bitcoin because of whatever. I like Bitcoin because of whatever. We don't want to be ignored. Being ignored is the worst form of anything. That means that nothing will progress.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it. Like the worst thing about being talked about is not being talked about.
Yeah. If you're thinking about that currency that needs to have a network to be valuable, if nobody's heard about it, you're worthless. So even if there's, all these bad things happening, if just people know what Bitcoin is, and then maybe something in their life happens and they change it. Maybe you're a Russian oligarch and you thought you were super wealthy, and then all of a sudden, because you got rugged because some dude that you have no affiliation with launched a war, and you're like, oh, I understand now. I thought I owned that asset, but I'm just a renter. And the landlord said no mas, and I no longer have my boat, my fancy apartment, my house, my bank account. I get what these Bitcoin guys are talking about.